Okay, imagine this. You're just, going about your day, maybe reading a book, maybe stuck in traffic, it's happened to me, or maybe just lying in bed, about to drift off. And then bam, out of absolutely nowhere, this wave hits you. Pure terror. Your heart just explodes, right? It starts pounding like crazy, so hard you think it's going to burst out of your chest. And breathing. Suddenly you can't. It's fast, shallow, like you're suffocating. Your chest feels tight, like it's in a vice. You break out in this cold sweat, but you feel hot inside. And your hands might start shaking, vision gets blurry, the room feels weird, distant. Or maybe, and this is really unsettling, you feel like you're floating outside your own body, just watching. Dizzy, lightheaded, pins and needles creeping up your arms, your face, and then the thoughts start, I'm losing it, I'm going crazy. Oh my God, I'm dying. That
Yes.
right there, that's panic. It's raw, it's intense, and honestly, it's one of the most terrifying things anyone can go through. You feel completely alone, like your body's betrayed you. But here's the thing, the absolute core of what we're diving into today, if you felt that, you are so not alone. And actually understanding what's happening, why your body does this, that's the first massive step to getting back in control. So our mission today, an honest talk. What are panic attacks really? Why does our biology react like this? And crucially, what actually helps when that fear hits hard? Because knowing is where you start to get your power back.
That description is spot on. That sudden doom, that feeling like reality is slipping away, it's unfortunately familiar to millions. And starting there, it's about saying, yes, this incredibly weird, scary thing you feel, it's real, and other people get it. Our sources for this deep dive, they give us this really rich picture. We've got firsthand accounts. People have really been through it,
Yeah.
and they found ways to manage, ways to live fully again. And we're blending that lived experience with the hard science, the biology, the psychology behind it all. It's not just theory. It's how it feels and what the science says is going on. Hopefully that gives us a really honest and ultimately empowering view.
I love that blend because it's not just clinical, right? It's deeply human. So, okay, where do we start peeling back the layers on this? It feels huge.
Let's start with a clear definition. Precision helps here. A panic attack. It's defined as a sudden, distinct period of intense fear or discomfort. And that word sudden is key. It's not like general anxiety that might simmer for days. This is abrupt, like flipping a switch into terror mode. And the symptoms, well, you painted a pretty vivid picture. Palpitations, that heart racing, feeling like it's skipping beats, sometimes even painful. Sweating, like drenching sweat. Trembling, shaking you can't control. And that awful feeling of shortness of breath, like you just can't get enough air in.
Yeah, and the chest pain too. It can be so bad people genuinely think they're having a heart attack. I mean, you would, wouldn't you? You'd go straight to the ER. But it's more than that, isn't it? Nausea, stomach churning, feeling dizzy, unsteady, like you're going to faint. Then there's the weird neurological stuff, numbness, tingling, pins and needles, often in your hands or feet, maybe your face. And the really freaky one's derealization, where everything around you looks strange or unreal, like a dream. Or depersonalization, where you feel detached from yourself, like you're watching yourself from outside.
Exactly. And woven through all of that physical chaos, all those strange perceptions, is that overwhelming sense of impending doom, this conviction that you're losing control, going mad, or literally about to die. Now, the sources are pretty clear. These symptoms tend to ramp up really fast, peaking within about 10 minutes usually.
Yeah.
It feels like an eternity when you're in it, obviously. But the peak intensity is often quite short. The whole attack might last up to, say, 30 minutes. Though it's worth saying people report variations. Some are seconds long. Others, though it's rarer, can feel like they go on for hours.
Okay, and this is maybe the most important thing we'll say today, the biggest piece of reassurance right off the bat.
Yeah.
While these attacks feel absolutely terrifying, like you are genuinely in mortal danger, they are not physically dangerous. You won't have a heart attack because of it. You won't stop breathing forever. You won't actually die from the panic attack itself. It's your body's alarm system, basically, going haywire.
Precisely. And that's where confusion often creeps in, isn't it? People use panic attack and anxiety attack almost interchangeably. But clinically, there's a difference. Anxiety attack isn't really a formal diagnosis, more like a common term people use. But the symptoms of something like generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, they can be really rough too, like constant nervousness, feeling irritable all the time, faster heart rate, maybe rapid breathing, trembling, sweating, this vague sense of dread looming.
Yeah, trouble concentrating, bad sleep, feeling restless. It's this constant background hum of unease, right? It makes everyday life feel hard. But the difference, and our sources really hammer this home, is about how it hits and how long it lasts. Panic attacks are sudden, intense, they come in episodes, like lightning, as you said, often
Yeah.
without a clear trigger right then and there. Anxiety symptoms, they tend to stick around longer, days, weeks, months even, often tied to ongoing worries, work stress, money problems, relationship stuff. It's more like a chronic low-grade storm versus that sudden thunderbolt. Getting that distinction clear is often step one to finding the right help.
Right. And understanding that leads us straight into the biology. What's actually happening in your body during a true panic attack. It's all about this ancient survival mechanism, the fight or flight response. This system evolved over, well, millennia to save our skins from actual physical threats. You know, the classic example, a saber-toothed tiger jumps out at you. Your body needs to react instantly to survive. It's an amazing system, truly. But during a panic attack, that same life-saving system is basically misfiring. It's triggering inappropriately.
This is where it gets kind of fascinating, actually, because once you get this, some of the fear has to lessen, right? Every single weird, scary sensation during an attack. It's explainable by the system kicking in, flooding your body with chemicals, mainly adrenaline. Let's break it down. That heart pounding like a drum. Adrenaline. It hits your system and tells your heart, pump faster, pump harder. Why? To get oxygen-rich blood to your big muscles, legs, arms, heart, lungs, preparing you to either fight for your life or run like hell. It keeps your blood pressure up too, which would be useful if you were, say, injured. Your body thinks it's go time.
Totally. And feeling hot, flushed, then suddenly sweating buckets. Also adrenaline. It's orchestrating this whole thing. Blood gets shunted away from your skin towards those major muscles, making your skin feel hot or sometimes cold and clammy. And the sweating, that's your body's air conditioning kicking in, anticipating massive physical effort, like sprinting away from dangers, trying to cool you down in advance.
Okay, what about the breathing? That horrible feeling of not getting enough air, hyperventilating, chest tightness.
Adrenaline again. It cranks up your breathing rate. You start breathing really fast and shallow, mostly from your chest, not your diaphragm. The idea is to suck in oxygen fast for those muscles, but if you're just sitting there panicking, breathing like that is really inefficient. It feels difficult, tight, like you can't get a proper, satisfying breath. Your body's trying to load up on oxygen for a fight that isn't actually happening. And the tingling, the numbness, hands, feet, maybe around your mouth, that pins and needles feeling, that's a direct result of the hyperventilation, the overbreathing. You blow off too much carbon dioxide, which changes the pH balance in your blood slightly, makes it more alkaline. This affects calcium levels in your blood, and that leads directly to the tingling, the numbness, sometimes even muscle twitches or spasms. It's pure biochemistry triggered by breathing too fast.
And the really disorienting stuff. Feeling lightheaded, dizzy, the world looking weird, derealization, or feeling detached from yourself, depersonalization.
Still linked to hyperventilation, believe it or not. When your CO2 levels drop, the blood vessels going to your brain actually constrict a bit, reducing blood flow slightly. That can cause dizziness, weakness, confusion, feeling like you're outside yourself, maybe even seeing things fuzzily. Your brain also goes into hyper-alert mode, trying to scan for threats. But ironically, this makes it really hard to think clearly or rationally. It's like sensory overload inside your head. Which brings us right to the core paradox, the sort of central irony of a panic attack.
Yeah.
Your body is pulling out all the stops, using its most powerful survival tools to save you from what it thinks is imminent death. But the reality is, there's no bear, there's no tiger. You are not actually in physical danger. So the fear isn't about an external threat anymore. You become scared of the symptoms themselves, scared of what your own body is doing.
So hang on. The system designed to protect us is basically turning on itself, making us afraid of its own effects. What does that mean when you're actually having an attack?
It means you get stuck in this awful feedback loop, a vicious cycle. You feel the symptoms, heart racing, can't breathe, and you get scared of those feelings. You start thinking, oh God, make it stop. This feels awful. I can't handle this. And that fear, that resistance, that desperate wish for it to end, it triggers the release of more adrenaline, which of course makes the symptoms even stronger, which makes you more scared, which releases more adrenaline. See the loop. It's like trying to put out a fire by pouring gasoline on it. Your fear becomes the fuel.
Wow. That's a powerful way to put it. And it explains why just telling someone to calm down is completely useless, maybe even makes it worse. This makes me wonder why this seems so common now. Our sources talked about this evolutionary mismatch, right? Our biology versus modern life. Like, our caveman ancestors dealt with short, sharp shocks, fight the wolf, run from the rival tribe, then it's over. Rest and recover. But our stressors today, work pressure that never lets up, money worries, exams, social media pressure, this stuff can go on for months, years, nonstop.
Exactly. Evolution just moves way slower than societal change. The way we live now, especially since, say, the Industrial Revolution maybe 200 years ago, is radically different. But our basic biological wiring, still kind of operating on that ancient timetable, we're primed for short bursts of intense stress, not this chronic, low-level, unrelenting pressure. So our systems are constantly on edge, perpetually vigilant, waiting for a threat that maybe isn't physical, but feels just as real to our nervous system. And that makes these false alarms, these panic attacks, much more likely.
The statistics definitely back that up. Panic disorder, which is different from just occasional panic attacks or general anxiety, is surprisingly common. It affects something like 3% in Europe, but maybe up to 11% in the US each year. And it seems to hit females more often than males, often starting around puberty or early adulthood. Less common in kids or older adults, but it happens. And there's a genetic link too, isn't there? Twin studies, family studies suggest some people are just more predisposed. It's not purely environmental.
Absolutely. And what's really striking and kind of validating, I think, is who it affects. It doesn't care about your job title or your IQ. We saw stories about someone with a master's in bioscience struggling badly. Even, get this, a literal rocket scientist, brilliant woman, 50s, suffered terribly with panic attacks. Yep. And then her 14-year-old daughter started getting them too. It just shows, it cuts across everything. Success, intelligence, age, background. None of it makes you immune. It's a fundamental human vulnerability, a physiological response anyone could potentially experience.
That shared vulnerability, yeah, that makes this next part feel even more crucial. Okay, let's talk strategy. Taking back control. Because this is where things get really interesting, almost counterintuitive. The usual advice is fight it, distract yourself, suppress it. But the sources we looked at, drawing a lot from CBT and methods like dairy, suggest something radical. Don't fight it. Welcome it. Lean into the panic. It sounds nuts, I know. But the idea is to teach yourself deeply that the symptoms aren't dangerous, just uncomfortable, to almost be happy they're happening.
It does sound completely bonkers at first listen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Your body is screaming, danger. And you're supposed to say, oh, hey, nice to see you. But it hinges entirely on understanding the science we just covered. Knowing, truly knowing, that these are just harmless, temporary physical sensations from a false alarm. Once that clicks, the whole mindset can shift. Instead of, oh no, what if this lasts forever? It becomes something like, okay, adrenaline, do your worst. Let's see what you got. I hope this lasts ages.
Yeah.
You're not feeding the fear anymore. And when the fear goes, when you stop resisting, the adrenaline stops pumping because the perceived threat, the adrenaline itself is no longer scary. The panic just fizzles out.
And that connects to resisting the urge to flee, right?
Yeah.
That overwhelming need to get out of wherever you are, the classroom, the supermarket, the meeting, run home, get safe. But escaping actually tells your brain, see, that place was dangerous. Leaving helped. It reinforces the fear associated with that situation or place.
Exactly right. It creates avoidance, which shrinks your world. The revolutionary idea is feel the panic rising. Identify the sensation. There's that heart racing thing. Remind yourself it's just the alarm, no real danger, and stay put. Ride it out right there, in the chair, in the aisle, at the meeting table. Face the adrenaline head on without running. You're sending a loud, clear message back to your brain. This situation is safe. These feelings are just feelings. I don't need to escape. You break the link between the place and the panic.
Okay, now this next bit is where it gets almost empowering, actively engaging with the adrenaline, the E and the dare approach. So you acknowledge the adrenaline, you know it's there. But instead of being scared, you decide to use it. Because think about it, a panicked brain is often hyper-focused, right? Super alert, scanning everything. You can actually harness that energy.
Absolutely. Channel that intense focus. Instead of letting it overwhelm you, direct it. If you're in class feeling shaky, pour that energy into the lecture, into the notes, into the problem on the board. If it's work, dive deep into that project, that jittery feeling, turn it into intense concentration, or even physical energy. Go for a brisk walk, do some push-ups if you can. Use the fuel your body is giving you. Just redirect it from fear to focus or action.
And it works for small moments too, not just big tasks. You can use that heightened awareness, that hypervigilance in a positive way. Feeling panic on a plane? Okay, instead of focusing inward, really look out the window. Notice the cloud shapes, the colors on the ground, the tiny cars. Or if you're on the ground, study the details, the veins on a leaf, the pattern on someone's shirt. Really listen to the sounds around you. Immerse yourself in a movie, a book. Let the jittery energy become focused absorption.
We heard about someone using Superman vision, like hyper-focusing on details of people around them with curiosity, not fear. It transformed the anxiety into connection. And here's a little trick. Sounds silly maybe, but it's powerful. Try smiling. or even give a little chuckle at the absurdity of it all, your body making this mistake. That physical act of smiling, of finding slight amusement, sends a signal back to your brain. Hey, this isn't so bad. This adrenaline, it's okay, maybe even interesting. It helps short-circuit that fear adrenaline loop almost instantly. You're kind of befriending the jitters.
It sounds simple, but I can see how that reframes everything. So does this actually work for people? What do the stories say? Our sources had some incredible examples. That original Reddit post, someone went from daily, crippling panic attacks, even needing an ambulance on her wedding day, to being completely panic-free. Started a business, travels, has kids, calls that whole period a distant memory. That's huge.
It is huge. And while that's a dramatic case, it's not isolated. So many people reported finding this lean-in approach genuinely life-changing. Using words like cured, feeling like they got their lives back. We saw that example of someone using imagery avatar, Goku, to feel powerful when panic hit, turning the fear into excited energy. It shows how much our mindset can influence the physical experience.
And this underlines something really important, doesn't it? You don't always need to know the exact root cause, the why of your panic, to get better. Sure, understanding contributing factors, maybe you're naturally sensitive, maybe big life changes triggered it like surgery or a move that context helps. But the key to recovery seems to be understanding the biology of the symptoms and then applying these CBT-based techniques now. It's about retraining your response in the present, not getting lost digging for a single past cause, which can sometimes just become another source of anxiety itself. The how is the pathway out.
There's a great analogy for this, thinking about brain pathways. Imagine pathways through a forest. Every time you panic and react with fear, you're clearing that fight or flight path, making it wider, easier for your brain to default to. It becomes the path of least resistance for your fear response.
So the goal is to let that path get overgrown again.
Exactly. By accepting the adrenaline, understanding it's harmless, and not reacting with fear or fleeing, you stop reinforcing that path. You imagine the adrenaline flow slowing down. You visualize that trail getting covered with leaves, branches, becoming harder to find. With consistent practice of acceptance and non-resistance, that pathway can literally fade away. Neuroplasticity in action. You're retraining your brain's default response.
Okay, this is powerful stuff. Let's shift gears slightly towards more practical tools, things people can use right in the moment or build into their lives. Breathing techniques seem key.
Definitely. They give you an anchor, something concrete to control, and they directly impact your nervous system. One really good one is the 5-2-5 count from David Burns. It's about diaphragmatic belly breathing. So you breathe in slowly through your nose for 5 seconds, letting your stomach expand. Hold it gently for 2 seconds. Then breathe out slowly and fully through your mouth for 5 seconds, letting your stomach fall. Really focus on that slow exhale. You only do it twice, then breathe normally for about 5 cycles. It helps slow the heart rate and shifts your focus away from the panic symptoms onto the breath.
That makes sense, focusing on the belly, not the chest. What about something specifically for that adrenaline rush, that surge?
Yeah, there's a technique sometimes called flex breathing, or tension release. When you feel that surge, take a deep breath, hold it. Then tense up all your major muscles, fists, arms, shoulders, abs, legs, everything. Hold that tension really tight for maybe 8-10 seconds. Then exhale fully and release all the tension at once. Repeat that 4 or 5 times. Physiologically, this intense muscle tension actually helps release acetylcholine, which counteracts adrenaline. It helps burn off that excess energy and reset your nervous system.
Okay, and for hyperventilating, because that feeling of suffocation is maybe the scariest part for many.
For hyperventilating, the key is the exhale. Purse your lips like you're going to whistle, making just a tiny opening. Then focus entirely on blowing the air out as slowly, steadily, and completely as you possibly can. Don't worry about the inhale. Your body will handle that. Controlling the exhale gives you back that sense of control, helps rebalance your CO2 levels, and eases the dizziness and tingling. It signals safety. I can control my breath.
These breathing exercises tie nicely into a broader approach, don't they? Mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, MBCT. Sounds powerful.
It really is. Developed by Zindel Segal, Mark Williams, John Teasdale, brilliant minds. It's used for depression, pain, and yes, definitely panic. The big difference from standard CBT is the focus. Instead of actively challenging thoughts, MBCT emphasizes observing them without judgment. Like watching clouds drift by. You notice the thought, I'm losing control. But you don't have to engage with it, argue with it, or believe it. You just notice it's there and let it pass. It uses a lot of meditation, body scans, paying attention to physical sensations non-judgmentally, and breath work to calm the nervous system. The core idea is acceptance, not struggle.
We saw that amazing case study of Aisling, the 34-year-old home working, struggled for ages, tried CBT, tried meds, nothing fully worked. Panic attacks 2-3 times a week, really impacting her life.
Right. She did an 8-week MBCT program. Weekly sessions, but crucially, daily practice at home, mindfulness exercises, journaling. That commitment is key. They taught her mindful breathing, body scans, how to observe thoughts without getting caught up, how to bring mindfulness into everyday things. And the results were dramatic. Her panic severity score dropped significantly. Anxiety, depression scores improved.
And it stuck, right? Months later, she was still doing way better, fewer attacks, less intense, doing things she'd avoided, using the mindfulness practices daily.
Exactly. It really shows the power of consistent practice and finding a qualified MBCT therapist. It's not a quick fix. It's learning a new way of relating to your own mind and body.
It also helps, I think, to touch on the why again briefly. Not to find blame, but because understanding the potential mechanisms makes it less mysterious and scary.
Totally agree. Demystifying it is half the battle. So science points to a few possibilities. One is the fear network model. This suggests the brain circuits that regulate fear might be kind of glitchy, maybe due to early stress, maybe genetics. The fear signal fires too easily or doesn't get dampened down properly, like a faulty thermostat for fear.
And related to that is the amygdala dysfunction idea, the amygdala being the brain's fear center.
Exactly. In people prone to panic, the amygdala might be overactive, too sensitive, or other brain areas aren't keeping it in check properly, so it triggers fear responses without a real threat. Again, could be linked to past experiences or genetics. The fear button is just too easily pressed.
And that fascinating falsification alarm theory based on pH levels?
Yeah, the acid-base disturbances theory. Parts of the amygdala seem super sensitive to tiny shifts in blood pH, like when CO2 levels change slightly. It can misinterpret a minor internal chemical change as a sign of suffocation, triggering that full-blown panic response even though you're breathing perfectly fine. Some studies even detect these subtle pH changes before an attack starts, an oversensitive internal alarm.
So knowing these theories isn't about finding the answer, but about realizing it's biology, not madness. It's your body's systems misfiring based on internal signals.
Precisely. It shifts it from I'm broken to my system is a bit overreactive right now and I understand the possible reasons.
Yeah.
That understanding itself reduces fear.
Okay, alongside therapy and understanding, what else helps? Medication comes up a lot.
It does. And for some people, especially initially or in severe cases, it can be a really helpful tool. Antidepressants like SSRIs or TCAs are often used, and benzodiazepines, usually used alongside therapy, not just on their own, ideally.
Right. SSRIs are often first choice, seem effective short-term, but side effects vary, efficacy varies. Benzodiazepines work fast, very effective for immediate relief, but carry risks dependence, tolerance, withdrawal issues, needs careful medical supervision, always, often seen as a bridge, maybe, not the whole solution.
That's a good way to put it. And lifestyle stuff, huge. Exercise is consistently shown to help. Aerobic exercise, yoga, tai chi, they release endorphins, reduce cortisol. Just got to pace it right, especially at first, so you don't trigger hyperventilation symptoms by overdoing it. Gentle, consistent movement.
Community helps too, right? Support groups, online forums. Knowing you're not alone is massive. An interesting point about AI tools, like ChatGPT, someone found it useful for getting detailed info, like talking to an expert anytime.
Yeah, it's a modern resource. Can provide quick, detailed explanations of the biology, therapy concepts, suggestions. Obviously not a replacement for a therapist, but a useful tool for understanding.
And finally, a really practical tip. Know your specific panic symptoms. Really learn your personal pattern.
So when that familiar feeling starts, the chest tightness, the dizziness, whatever your first signs are, you can immediately say, oh, okay, this feels like panic. I know this feeling. It's uncomfortable, but it can't hurt me. That quick recognition can stop the fear escalating. It's like having your own internal ID system for false alarms.
So let's bring this all together. The big message here. Panic attacks feel horrific, world-ending even. But they are fundamentally a mistake. A misinterpretation by your body's incredibly sophisticated survival system. The path forward isn't about brute force fighting. It's about understanding, reframing, learning to almost cooperate with that misplaced energy. It's about tuning that ancient alarm for the modern world we actually live in.
Exactly. It's a journey of learning about your body, your mind.
Yeah.
It involves acceptance, not resignation, but accepting the sensations without fear, and then proactively engaging using these tools and techniques. You are stronger than these attacks because you can understand them. You can see them not as a personal failing, but as a sign of a powerful, if temporarily confused, protective mechanism. Knowing the why gives you power over the how you respond.
And let's leave you with this thought to chew on. If your body can generate that much energy, that much intense focus during a false alarm, what happens when you learn to consciously redirect that power? When you're not afraid of the rush, but can channel it? What could you hyper-enjoy with that level of focused awareness? A sunset, music, connection. What new strengths, what superpowers might you find within yourself when you learn to ride the wave instead of being wiped out by it?
Yeah.
When you embrace that energy for living instead of just surviving?